In 1989, the county established the Agricultural Hall of Fame to honor county residents who have made a significant contribution to agriculture. Since 1989, we have inducted over 50 people into the Hall of Fame. Kay Bullard has just been a champion for agriculture in Cumberland County because of her outreach to teach young people about the environment and also promoting awareness of conserving our soil and water.
Growing up on a farm taught me how to work. My daddy got up every morning at 2:30. That was the time he had to get up and go milk the cows. And he worked most days until it got dark. So I learned responsibility and patience and discipline, because until my chores were done, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do. And I do believe that observing my parents work hard and helping out on the farm gave me a really good work ethic. I also learned where our food comes from, and I learned to keep the faith, because things don't always turn out the way that you plan for them to, especially when it comes to the weather. And living on a farm will give you a love-hate relationship with the weather. The Soil and Water Conservation District implements the North Carolina Agriculture Cost Share Program, which helps farmers and landowners with financial and technical assistance to implement best management practices on their farms and on their land. And another major goal of the district is conservation education. Well, my favorite programs that I worked with the district were those that were sponsored by Soil and Water, and those were Project Food, Land and People, which is lessons for all ages, the Envirothon program, which is a natural resources competition for middle school and high school students, and then the stewardship themes. It was a great feeling to be able to take the resources that the district provided and give teachers the tools that they needed to teach conservation education and agriculture awareness in the classrooms. And of course, it was always a joy to see the expression on the children's faces when they made their own soil profile, and then when they discovered earthworms in a small pile of topsoil on their desk. It's a great honor for me to be in the Hall of Fame. I never expected for my picture to be on that wall at the Ag Center, and I'm very humbled and also very proud of the work that I did that was recognized by this program. I thank those folks that helped make it possible.
Mr. Gipp Smith was a pioneer in the cattle business in Cumberland County and is well known as one of our most knowledgeable cattlemen and farmers. He at one time was someone, and still today, that people use as a go-to when they have questions about the cattle industry.
My family was farmers, and I was the youngest boy out of 6, and I started when I was 15. My daddy died when I was 19 or 20. So I was the only boy at home, so I took over and started looking after the farm with my mama's help and sister. I was drafted in the Army in '53, the Korean War, and I was gone for 2 years. Come back and started farming full time. Got to tending tobaccos, how I got my start with tobacco. Making a little money, and then I got in the cow business. And then I started feeding cattle and done that for 40 years. And all the packers, Swift, Frosty Morning closed up and left North Carolina, so I switched to stockers, and I done that a while, and I finally quit that and just have a few brood cows. I just love to farm. I love to see stuff grow, and it was the best opportunity I had to make a farmer. When I got out of the Army, I told him, me and I was with, he asked me, "What you gonna do, Smitty?" I said, "I'm gonna be a farmer and be a good one." So far, everything worked out. Still doing it at 85. I work 2 days this week. It gives me out of the house. I've been fighting arthritis for 30 years and keeps me going to work. I'd say if I was a young farmer starting now, I would not try to be the biggest farmer, but be a good one with what size farmer I was going to end up doing. Farming's been good to me and my family, and there's a man that helps me a lot. He said, "God is good."
We also partner with Cumberland County Farm Bureau to honor an outstanding young farmer in our community. The average farmer in Cumberland County is about 57 years old, and so we need to support these young farmers who are going to continue to feed this nation. And so William Canady is a fifth-generation farmer. He is a very hardworking young man and very deserving of this honor.
Why I decided to make farming my career, I mean, I'm a fifth-generation farmer, and I grew up from a little boy on a farm, and I just enjoy growing things and seeing the outcome at the end, you know, how it turns out. Only 2% of people in the United States, the population, that farm, and we face so many problems with losing land of developments, housing developments, and then commodity prices are low, and then if you have a drought or flood or whatever, I mean, it kind of weighs in on you too, you know. So there's a lot of factors that affect farming, you know. Well, the importance of farming in the U.S. or countywide or whichever way, if there's no farms, there's no food. And I mean, a lot of people think, I mean, not just kids now, I think a lot of people think that food comes from a grocery store, and that's not even close, you know. It's a lot of work before it gets there. So I think there's a lot of knowledge that, you know, that people can get out about farming and how stuff, you know, in schools, you know, let them know, have curriculums where people can, or kids can learn, you know, the way farming, you know, is done and where stuff comes from.
That's great.
Well, to be named the Young Farmer of the Year for Cumberland County, I mean, it was a very great feeling. I mean, it's in my family, my grandfathers and all have never been acknowledged for, you know, their farming or their ties to agriculture, and I mean, it made me feel good, and I know they would be very proud of me for it, you know. Sometimes I don't like being in the spotlight just because, well, I don't like being in the spotlight just because of, I mean, I like doing the work and doing a good job, and I don't ask to be rewarded for it.
Okay.
We do produce, watermelons, peas. That's mostly the biggest thing for produce. We grow corn and soybeans, some small grain, oats, some wheat, and then we have cattle on our farm, and also we got a few hogs, you know, but that's mostly for our purposes. But the cows are mainly for sale, you know, at the market.